hi everyone. Uh, Thank you so much for joining today's Leverage TV session. Today's session on Leverage TV is about how to do your MBA in Canada without GMAT, right? A very niche topic. We've selected this topic because a lot of our students who want to do an MBA in Canada come to us and ask whether they can get to an MBA program in Canada without GMAT. The short answer is yes. And I will answer it. I'll get into more details around which universities you can target to get into an MBA in Canada without GMAT. The hard reality, though, about Canada is that most of the flagship MBA programs require a GMAT, right? So that's the harsh reality, right? And this session is going to answer a few questions around, despite that harsh reality, if you want to explore MBA options in Canada, can you do that, right? What is GMAT, right? If you come to think of it, I'm going to answer a very basic question to begin with. GMAT, what is it and why is it required by universities, right? So GMAT is a standardized test, right, that is required to objectively compare you with any of your other international applicants from other countries, as even a domestic applicants, right? Put everyone in the same pool and objectively compare folks on their ability around being great leaders, being understanding of right written communication, about being able to figure out what quantitative ability you have, what problem solving skills you have, right? So it's a standardized test that brings everyone onto the same pedestal. Now, there are, however, scenarios that many of our students go through wherein they have tried giving GMAT multiple times but not been able to score well, or they just don't have the time to prepare for GMAT anymore. They've decided very late on saying, I want to go into the next intake itself. Say the next intake is a September or a January intake, and I may not have enough time to prepare for GMAT and give and apply and get an offer all at the same time, right? So those are some complications that students go through. So what we need to do is, in such scenarios, there are two ways to go about it, right? One, you find universities that allow you to apply and get an offer and do not have GMAT or GRE as an eligibility requirement. Or the second option is for you to go to universities that require a GMAT, GRE, but can give you a waiver if you were to give them enough reason to believe that you are a strong candidate, right? Those are the two possibilities ahead of you. Now, let's see which colleges come in which category, right? So some of the top MBA programs, flagship MBA programs in Canada, you would have heard of would be University of Toronto's Rotman School of Management, or a McGill, or Queen University's Smith School of Business, or an Ivy Business School, or a Schuler School of Management, and Alberta, Sauder, and the likes, right? But there are a few schools, very few of them that still give you an option to do an MBA without GMAT. A few of them would be Smith School of Business, or Schuler School of Business, or Ivy Business School, which are of the top-ranked flagship MBA programs, right? However, there are some catches there, right? And I will cover them. And there are also some slightly lower-ranked schools that you can also consider, like a Lakehead University's, Lakehead School of Business, a New York Institute of Technology, Thompson River, Vancouver Island University, University Canada West, Royal Roads, and the likes, right? So those are some slightly lower ranked universities that do not, in fact, require a GMAT itself, and you can directly apply, right? So those are the two types of universities: flagship MBA program, top universities, lower ranked universities, and there are certain differences between the two of them. I will cover that as well, right? So let's dive down one level deeper, right? So what are the requirements generally for you to apply to an MBA program? It's simple, right? You generally need a decent score in your bachelor degree, right? Probably you should have like a GPA of 3.014, which essentially translates to at least about 65-70% marks if you've been rated on a percent scale in your undergraduate program, right? Apart from that, in Canada, what's essential is 16 years of study before you go to study in Canada, right? What that means is if you've done a 4-year bachelor, a 2-year work experience on top of that would help you become eligible to do your MBA. And if you've done a 3-year bachelor, then you would preferably need at least 3 years of work experience to go and do your MBA in Canada. Ideally, a sweet spot for you to get into the top ranked universities would be to have around 4 years of work experience, bare minimum 3, and around 4 would be a sweet spot for you to get admits to top flagship programs, MBA programs in Canada. In addition to that, of course, you need 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. You need a CV or a resume, and of course, you need to write essays and statement of purpose. In many cases, there are also video essays that are asked of students. And again, the number of essays and the complexity of essays depends on how higher ranked the university you're applying to. If you apply to the main flagship programs, you would have to write 5 to 7 essays and video essays as well. If you write to, say, slightly lower ranked universities, you might have to give just about 1 or 2 essays, right? Now coming to how to do this without GMAT, right? So let's look at first the top ranked universities, and then, right? So if you look at the top ranked university, say a Smith School of Business, it gives you an accredited MBA program, right? Which is a short 12-month program. And all it requires for you to have is a bachelor's degree in business, or some related discipline where you've exhibited that you've say done courses in statistics, accounting, marketing, management information systems, and the like, right? Something to show that you have done prior work, a prior degree in business, right? So yeah, those would be the 2 bare minimum requirements. And what you would need to do is overcome the lack of having a GMAT by ensuring that you show in your essays an outstanding promise and leadership potential, right? Your profile should come out to be extremely outstanding, and you need to be able to sort of exhibit the fact that with your work experience, you have substantive management sort of exposure, right? It could be executive, it could be functional, it could be project management experience, but you sort of need to show that sort of an exposure in your work experience, coupled with the fact that you have done a bachelor's degree in business or some related disciplines to business, right? That is something that will give you an edge and be able to get you a waiver in GMAT. In addition to that, there are many students who are also entrepreneurs, right? And successful entrepreneurs who might be looking to go do their MBA. And they also might be able to write that story really well and exhibit these exact points that I mentioned in their essays and hope for a GMAT waiver to be given to them, right? So that was one, right? Smith's accredited MBA program. Similarly, there is, School of Business's executive MBA program, where again, GMAT is not mandatory. But again, when I say GMAT is not mandatory, it does not mean that it is not required. Nobody submits it. You will realize that many of the applicants would be submitting their applications with GMAT. You need to ensure that while getting compared with your competing applicants, your profile needs to really stand out. And again, hence I'm emphasizing on the fact that you need to show outstanding promise in your profile, and you need to achieve that leadership potential, right? So the way you write your essays, the way you write your resume, and the way your letters of recommendation come out, like how well have your superiors in your company rated you and give you enough sort of say that you're ready to do an MBA and you have demonstrated in say sort of leadership experience is what will sort of help you come emerge better candidate than the other applicants who might have submitted applications with a GMAT, right? So yeah, the reality is that with the top ranked MBA schools, the options to get to an MBA program without GMAT in Canada are limited, right? These are only like a couple, 2, 3 universities that give you that option, right? If you come to slightly middle ranked, lower ranked universities, the options increase many folds, right? So if you were to look at, say, a Lakehead University, slightly middle ranked university, and their MBA program, you would say all you need is an IELTS score that's greater than 6.5, and you can apply without GMAT, but you would probably have to take a 6-module program, which is around business skills development, right? And that program helps, if you score more than 70%, you can then graduate on to do your MBA, right? And it should not be an issue for you to be able to do that program, but that will be in addition to your MBA. And that is something that will be required for you to prove that even though you've not taken GMAT, you are still sort of ready in your business skills to be able to do your MBA. And hence you would be successful in your MBA, right? Similarly, other universities like NYIT, New York Institute of Technology, again requires an IELTS of more than 6.5. and a bachelor's GPA of 3.0. So that's the broad sort of requirement of the slightly middle and lower ranked universities. Even a Vancouver Island or a University of Canada West or a Royal Roads have similar requirements, right? So having about 65 to 70% marks, which is broadly 3 on 4 GPA in your undergraduate degree, coupled with at least 3 years of work experience, with folks who have done, say, a 4-year bachelor, even 2 years of work experience can work, but 3 is preferred. And ensuring you have an IELTS score wherein you have 6.5 aggregate score and not less than 6 in any of the bands makes you eligible to apply to these MBA programs. Most of these MBA programs are 2-year duration, and you have 20 months of program, plus you have 4 months of internship. The big difference between a higher rated MBA program versus slightly middle and lower ranked universities MBA programs is one, the tuition fee that you spend. So a higher rated program, the tuition fee will be higher versus a lower rated program's tuition fee will be lower. And similarly, the kind of expected compensation you can get after you graduate from your MBA program will also accordingly vary, right? So if, for example, you go to a top rated MBA program and you're spending, say, somewhere around $100,000, which is about 50 lakh rupees, you will also get a package which starts somewhere around $80,000-$90,000 once you graduate from your MBA program. Similarly, say if you go for a slightly lower ranked program at a Vancouver Island University or a Lakehead or a Thompson River, you will realize that you can essentially do your MBA in about 20 lakh rupees, 25 lakh rupees, which is about 10 to 12 lakh rupees of tuition fee per annum, versus a 50 lakh rupees in a top rated MBA program. At the same time, you will also find that the packages that you get after you graduate would also be in a similar range, right? Somewhere around 60 to 70, 50 to $70,000 annually versus $90,000 for a top rated MBA program. But yes, the hard fact is to get into a top rated MBA program without GMAT is difficult, and it is it is going to be an off chance that you get through, but to apply to slightly lower ranked MBA programs and get through, it's very, very feasible, and you can do your MBA in Canada from slightly lower or medium ranked universities. So if you feel that your profile anyway is not best suited for a top rated MBA program, I think Canada offers you enough opportunities for you to do your MBA without GMAT. The other option is, so we've spoken a lot about people who have, say, 3 or 4 years of work experience and looking to go to do their MBA in Canada. But there would be folks who would have, say, 7, 8 years of work experience, or slightly more, 8 to 10 years of work experience. The kind of MBA programs that you guys can apply to would be slightly different, right? The regular MBA programs may find you with a lot more work experience in the class, and hence being quite older in the class than the rest of the class, and hence might see it negatively, which is where an executive MBA or accelerated MBA programs may be the right fit for you, right? So for example, when I spoke about Schulich School of Business executive MBA program where GMAT is not mandatory, that program actually requires you to have at least 8 years of work experience and coupled with substantial management work experience, right? And there you don't need GMAT, and that executive MBA program or accelerated MBA program might be the right program for you. However, with 8 or 10 years of work experience, probably applying to a slightly lower ranked university might not be the best option, both from an eligibility perspective, even from an ROI perspective. Yeah, 2 kinds of programs, MBA programs, very highly ranked flagship MBA programs in Canada, slightly middle and lower ranked MBA programs in Canada. And to get to the top ranked MBA programs without GMAT would be slightly difficult. It's worth a shot, but it is not really high probability. There are only a few schools that allow you to get to those MBA programs, such as Smith School of Business's accredited MBA program, which is about 12 months, that allows you to apply without GMAT. And similarly, Schulich School of Business executive MBA program, which is of York University, which again, allows you to apply to only after you have 8 years of work experience. But majority of the others, are slightly middle or lower ranked universities such as Lakehead, New York Institute of Technology, Vancouver, Thompson, UCW, Royal Roads. You can apply to all of them without GMAT. You can get through very easily. The only difference is that they would be sort of slightly lower priced in tuition fee, about 50% of the flagship MBA programs. And similarly, the output or outcome that you expect after graduating in terms of the compensation that you will derive would also be lower than a top ranked MBA program by about 60%. All right, great. It was a great session, guys. Thanks for joining in. In case there are any questions that I can answer for you, feel free to log into leverageedu.com. You can get a recording of this video on Leverage TV. You can also get in touch with our counselors on leverageedu.com and answer any questions that you may have over a 30-minute free consultation. And apart from that, we keep producing a lot of engaging content for you all who want to go study abroad across different countries, across different disciplines. And every day at 6 p.m., we go live with a very different topic that many of our students ask us frequently. So tune into our community, Leverage Beyond. You can log on to leverageedu.com, Leverage TV. And on Leverage TV screen, you can log into and join our communities on Telegram, WhatsApp, and Discord, and get daily updates on different topics that we cover. We also launched engaging content about 4 to 6 different blogs and topics that we cover every day. So yeah, tune into our community and have fun exploring your study abroad dream with Leverage Edu. Bye.